Welcome to Talk Birdie To Me. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Mark Allen, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy is the #1 shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Righto, Nicholas, you didn't want Bay Hill behind us because you hate the golf course, so we've actually got the old course. Have a look at it. And if you're watching on YouTube for the first time, a big hello to you. A new look for Talk Birdie To Me, and hopefully it's a new beginning because we can do so much stuff back here, Nick. Imagine if we got some live lessons. So some of our listeners, the people who love golf, get up there, they send us their swing from the front and the back. There's so much we're looking forward to doing, and good to see you here with the FootJoy top on as well.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, we're at the home of golf and the home of Titleist headquarters, so let's go.
Well, the biggest story, not in golf, the biggest story in sport at the moment is Ryan Peake, a bloke who has spent 5 years in jail, a bloke who was a bikie, a bloke who was a pretty good golfer as a kid, pretty good. He wasn't too bad.
He was very good, actually.
And he was rescued by his coach, Richie Smith, who gave him a bell. I think he had a year to go in prison and said, hey, listen, what are you going to do? I mean, that's amazing foresight for it to play out the way it did, Nick, for you to win a tournament. Well, so it's actually the second I'm going to call it the second tournament because he won the Sandbelt Classic.
Yes, he did.
So he missed the cut in the PGA, he missed the cut in the Australian Open, doesn't know what's going on, sits down with his coach, Richie Smith, and they make a plan. Miracle, he wins the Sandbelt Classic. And then another miracle, he got a visa to get into New Zealand at the last minute.
How good is Richie Smith, by the way? His collection of golfers. And it was funny, I was reading some things about Elvis Smiley.
Yeah.
And obviously Elvis is leading the Order of Merit at the moment.
That's right.
And the only player that can catch him now, funnily enough, is Ryan Peake.
Oh, that's rubbish. Is that true?
That is true. The only player that can catch him because he's now gone to second in the Order of Merit, Ryan Peake. Yeah. So, but
I wonder if he's got any pull in Canberra because he could call the boss and say, hey, listen, whatever you do, give him a hard time.
But Elvis was saying he was at the boot camp that Richie Smith runs with all his players over there in Perth at the start of the year. Ryan was there with him.
Hang on a second. Richie Smith runs a boot camp for all of his players?
That's what I was reading at the start, yeah. So Elvis was practicing with the Lees and Ryan Peake and a couple other players as well. So, yeah. Well, isn't that a great idea?
Well, the boot camp. Because I've read everything about this, but
that's what I just read.
Okay, well,
so
that's
I'll look more into it for you. So
I will. Well, I know the Herald Sun reported today that on the morning of his final round, before he chased down the 4-shot deficit, Peake took a phone call from coach Richie Smith, who was in Florida with Minwoo Lee at their latest tour stop. So he was at the what's it called?
Cognizant.
We'll talk about that.
It was much easier when it was called the Honda, but it's the Cognizant.
He had just finished his third round, Peake said. They told me to enjoy the day, that being his fourth round. Don't beat yourself up. You weren't in this position 4 years ago and you've already won. I just went out and enjoyed the day. That's what I did. I wanted to keep the emotions to a minimum out there because obviously, listen to this, I've got plenty of them bottled up inside my head. I don't know about you, but 5 years in jail, I think I'd be torched, completely torched. I knew exactly what that winning putt meant as soon as I sunk it. Thank you to the New Zealand government for letting him in because the story
on the Tuesday
is remarkable. Now, I guess it's important to remember that, there's someone on the other end of this who got, hell beaten out of them by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to do that to somebody to end up in jail for 5 years. But we put that aside for a second because I'm just so happy we live in a country that affords people a second chance every once in a while. Yeah. Otherwise, this doesn't happen.
No, exactly. And I think the way he went about that final round was something which was pretty cool because, and as we look at the picture now on screen of Ian Baker Finch giving Ryan his flag, the British Open flag, which means he gets a spot in the Open.
Was it Royal Port Rush this year?
Royal Port Rush. Yeah. Now, the issues Ryan's going to have is can he get into the country because he had to basically get, I think it was a last-minute visa to get into New Zealand because as a convicted felon, you have travel restrictions. Now, he's obviously going to face some issues trying to get to the UK and over to Ireland. So hopefully they can manage their way through that and have a chance to play in his first major.
Well, hopefully they, winning a New Zealand Open, winning the Sandbell Classic, he's doing well. It's a great story. This is a click of the fingers, you would think, for our Australian government to make a phone call to the people over there in Britain. What's his name? Keir Starmer. Give Keir a call.
There you go.
And just sort things out. It should be great, and it'll be a big story when he gets to the Open Championship. You watch. I mean, it's people are talking about this all around the world. It is a very, very big deal, and we have to. I mean, I know he's a Titleist player, but we need him in. We absolutely need him in. Now, when's the next tournament when they're in Victoria? The National?
The National, all the Heritage is first, actually. Right, I think it's in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, I want to talk to him. And I don't want to talk to him. It's very simple. 2-part. What was it like in jail? What were you thinking about? Because, and then obviously let's talk your way through this New Zealand Open win and the game plan. That's what I want to know. I want to know what the game plan is. You missed the cut at the PGA Championship. You missed the cut at the Australian Open. You know, if you're going to be a good player, you can't keep missing those cuts here in this country when the fields are quite weak compared to the strength of the fields overseas. If you're missing cuts here, you're no good.
Well, he'd had a pretty good season already. I think maybe 3 top 10s on the smaller events, but not in the bigger ones, unfortunately.
But you and I both know it's the PGA and the Australian Open. If you're not doing damage in our biggest tournaments, you've got Buckley's doing damage overseas in the Northern Hemisphere.
Well, this is the next biggest one as well because the New Zealand Open carries all this order of merit points. He'll now be exempt on the Asian Tour, I imagine, because it was co-sanctioned with Asia. The way he did it was impressive. He came from 4 shots back from Guntak Ko, the guy he was playing with. I don't know if you saw the finishing holes.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I watched it last night.
That last hole, for a left-hander especially, with that left pin and you got the water, when he hit it and I knew he's given it the strong pull and I thought, that needs to sit down.
He thought it could have flown a lot further than it did, I reckon.
He got a nice softish bounce, stayed out of the water. Chip shot understandably came up short because if he gets aggressive with it, he can roll it into the water over the other side. But as soon as he hit that putt, I was watching him, not the ball, I was watching him. As soon as he hit that putt, I thought, he's hit a good putt.
Yeah.
And then when you hit a good putt, it's got every chance of going in. And it was a great reaction.
It was a great reaction. Now, I do want to talk to you about the New Zealand Open. We've both had our issues with the Australian Open. What is going on with the New Zealand Open being a pro-am? I can't cop it. I mean, here is a situation where Ryan Peake is trying to do something very, very spectacular in the world of golf, and he's got to watch a 14 marker chop and chip and carry on before every shot.
Well, now, fortunately, Mr. Shin, who was Ko's partner, hit it in the water.
Yes,
so it was basically left for the 2 pros.
That's right. But Nick, can you imagine you're trying to do something special? This is the New Zealand Open, folks.
Well, at the same time, it's like the Pebble Beach tournament, the Dunhill Links over in Europe. Now, the way they get this tournament to its status and the money is because it's a pro-am format. So that's kind of the way the reason being. Okay. I'll just put that on the table.
Thank you. Well, look, I've got a suggestion for Golf New Zealand. This week you're playing the New Zealand PGA. Let's make the New Zealand PGA the big pro-am. I mean, it's only $175,000 is what I saw last time I had a quick look. So it's a small tournament. But your Open Championship has got to be run like a US Open, like a British Open, not like the Australian Open. We don't want mixed. It has to be done properly because it is the pinnacle of golf in your country. Now, well done for getting the purse to $2 million. I mean, it's more than the Australian Open purse was. As far as total dollars.
Sure.
Just for the men. But the look of your National Open, and it's a special one. You know, I dreamt if I won the New Zealand Open, I would have been the happiest man in the whole world, and sat back with one tournament win, a New Zealand Open, because when I played it, it was a fabulous event. It was a serious event, a serious golf tournament. Having a Pro-Am for your National Open, it's garbage.
Okay.
It's garbage. That's not taking anything away from Ryan Peake. I'm trying to send a message to Golf New Zealand. Wake up, you know, do it differently. Find a way to make the New Zealand Open a pure 4-round event.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the only way they can, I think, get the money to do this is to do the Pro-Am format now. I think what they can do, and the best way to do it would be to make it final day, no amateurs. That way, all of a sudden, we have a full-on professional tournament going on. So there's your compromise for you.
My compromise would be final 2 days.
Okay.
No amateurs. Let's just get them out of the
harsh,
way.
Dan.
No, and I'm a fan of Pro-Ams. The bloke called David Schwartz, number 5 for Melbourne. When the Victorian PGA was gone, the Jack Harris Trophy was gone, Ox and I got it up, and it was a Pro-Am format. But it's just the Vic PGA, all right? So if you don't have the Pro-Am format, there's no tournament.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So I'm all for Pro-Ams. It's no issue.
All National Opens should be unique.
But your National Open is got to be a pure tournament. And pure to the point where you're playing in twos on the weekend, Nick, because you know and I both know playing in twos on the weekend, it gives you the best chance to perform at your best. Anyway.
I'm not going to disagree.
I know
I'll just
you're
say
not.
there's some compromise.
I know you're not. I reckon when the microphones are off, you'll go, well done. I'm glad you said it. I reckon you will too. Can we talk about PGA National?
Please.
How the hell did Jake Knapp shoot 59 on that golf course?
It's a brutal test, typically.
Oh.
However, this year they cut down the rough and they made the 10th hole, funnily enough, a par 5.
Yeah.
It used to be a par 4 when I played there.
Yeah.
No rough. The greens were pure. The weather was very cooperative.
Golden.
Usually you get some wind around there, and that bear trap, 15, 16, 17, 18, plays really tough, but still plenty of balls in the water.
I heard the commentator, all the commentators live in the area, it seemed. Every one of them, they were laughing because none of them had seen 2 days in a row where there was hardly a breath.
Yeah, true.
So you live there as well. Is Florida a windy joint?
Oh, no, I was in Orlando. That's certainly not windy, but West Palm Beach, where they are, yeah, because it's very, very near the coast. The wind tends to get up and gust and swirl. Plus, with the housing estates and the way they have the grandstands, you can never quite tell which way the wind's coming from either. So it's pretty tricky.
Can we get the Jake Knapp slide up of the 59, because there has been a sub 60 score and therefore Talk Birdie To Me needs to be rated.
I'm going to be very interested with this one. So first and foremost, it's a par 71, not a par 72.
That's right.
But it is a PGA Tour event.
That's right, and it is at PGA National.
Correct.
All right, so there's the slide. So he actually had a putt for 58 on the last hole. He hit the 2 most beautiful shots. I mean, his second shot to the par 5, it looked like it was, just a 6-iron. He was sitting on the range.
Yeah, it was.
So he had a putt for 58. He didn't make it. Now, the gold standard, folks, David Duval is the greatest 59 ever shot. He did it in the last round. He did it with an eagle on the last hole, and the eagle putt won him the tournament. So that's a level 5. Mm-hmm. And then you've got David Micheluzzi kind of doing it at PK in the Stableford comp, playing with his mates.
Keep putting the boots in.
That's a level 1.
Okay.
And hello to you, David. I hope you're going well. So, Jake Knapp, it is a PGA Tour event.
Yeah.
So that gives him a chance. But it wasn't the last round. It was just a lowly first round.
Jeez.
But it was at one of the toughest golf courses
It used to be.
in the land. I'm going to give this one a level 4.
Really?
It's a level 4.
That's higher than I thought you were going to give.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that bear trap and
Par 71, by the way.
Par 71, I know. You only had to shoot 12 under. But the bear trap is unique, and we saw so many people collapse. And you keep on telling me there's another stretch on that golf course that's just as tough.
Oh, yeah, on the front nine, it's pretty ugly as well. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, around that sort of area.
So because you had to go through the bear trap, when you're on 59 watch, it goes from a level 3 to a level 4. So
Sure.
it's a level 4 sub 60.
Yeah. Okay.
What would you
I'd
have
say
had?
3.5. It's not a level 4.
Jeez,
So-
you're so soft. You went level 3. You had to put up the level 3.5.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, did you see the plug shot that he hit?
Out of the water.
Yeah, out of the water.
Correct.
What do you make of that stuff?
So, funnily enough, I've done my masterclass on that shot. Now, I didn't get in water. We will see the masterclass later on.
But a plug lie is a plug lie, right?
I was in a bunker, yeah. Now, first and foremost, he's winning the tournament. He's a shot in front, I think. There's a bunch of guys behind him, but he's 8 holes to play. And he's hit a perfect drive on 11, flares his wedge, is in the water, horrible shot. Now, when he got to his ball, I saw a ball there, which was half above, and I thought, okay, well, I think he can get that out. But actually, that wasn't his ball. His ball was fully submerged.
Oh, you're kidding.
When you got a ball fully submerged, that is an issue. It's really hard to get those out. And the way you got to play them is you got to come in so steep, a lot of speed, and just hammer it. Now, when he hit the shot and when he was taking rehearsals, the commentators sort of said, it looks as though he's kind of almost going to come in a bit too shallow. And when he hit it, he just didn't hit it as hard as I thought he would. Right. It went up the bank, rolled back down in. Now it's a little bit of the ball's showing, but again, he hits it again.
Was there mud all over the ball? I haven't seen this.
I don't think so, no. It wasn't really there. But then it rolled and then it hung on the bank the next time he pitches it on, makes triple. Basically, that's the tournament.
Have we got it? Can we have a look at it?
That's the tournament.
Yep.
I think we do have it, Dan.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Let's have a look at it.
Okay.
All right, so...
This is his first attempt. You can't see the ball. Doesn't go at it that hard there.
He didn't go at it.
And you see it rolls back
enough.
down. And now you can see the top of the ball. That one he went a little harder, but again, into the bank. Now it stays there, and then he pitches it up. And
Tell me this. Do you reckon he went at it not as hard because he was in the lead of the tournament and might have been worried about hurting a hand? I've seen players really go hard and that they feel like they almost tear a ligament in their palm.
Not in water. Not in water. And you know that it's all soft and muddy. You're not going to you're just going to stick that club in the water and just hammer it. You have to. Now, if you haven't practiced those shots, which no one ever does, it's actually a really hard shot to hit unless you've been in there. So, I was going to look for some water, do the masterclass in the water, but around the sandbelt there's not much, and I didn't want to get mud all over me, so I did it in a bunker instead. But it's the same principles anyway, so we'll see that later on in the show.
We better talk about Joe Highsmith. Because not only was he wearing the dopiest looking Titleist hat I've ever seen, I mean, it looked more like he looks like a beekeeper.
Yeah,
he might as well just put the stuff down around the side and bring a bit of a steam can around it and just steam his way from the front nine to the back.
It looked as though he was going to play some cricket for Australia in the outfield, or maybe in the slips court now on Mark Waugh hat. But did you see his grip though? On the putting?
Well, before we because I'm going to get up and do it in a tick. But he becomes, how many players have actually made the cut on the number and then go ahead to win the tournament?
I think it's been many. 6 or 7. The last one was 9 years ago, Brunt Snedeker, I think, at Torrey Pines.
So he shot 64 on the weekend.
But he had to hold a 5-foot putt on the last hole Friday just to make the cut. So it was, and it was a par putt as well. It wasn't for birdie or anything. Low cut, by the way, 5 under. And around this place, 5 under
is ridiculous.
Never has there been such a low cut. And his total score in all was, I think, a record for the course.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so I was watching the highlights. I was busy on Monday morning playing the Lexus of Blackburn golf day at Royal Melbourne. I might talk about Royal Melbourne in a tick because I love going there. And I know you're on the list to get in there soon, but...
No, not soon.
Not soon?
Oh, it's still quite a wait.
It's a 20-year wait, isn't it, to get into Royal Melbourne?
But anyway, I'm happy waiting.
Anyway, so I was watching it on telly last night, and I watched him hole a few putts, and then I got the first decent look at his putting grip, and I could not believe my eyes what he was doing. So he's a left-hander to start with. Hard to watch, Nick. Very hard to watch.
Come on.
2 left-handers. By the way, Ryan Peake, if you didn't see, is a
By the way,
left-hander as well.
It's been a left-handers week.
Anyway, can you put the slide up, Dan, so people watching on YouTube can see what it... Now, if you just looked at that picture you would assume that he was using the claw putting grip, and he's a right-handed putter.
Yeah.
But he's actually putting with a claw right-handed standard grip, but he's going left-handed.
It's incredible, isn't it? Come on, why don't you show us? Let's have a look.
Right. There's a normal left-handed grip right there for putting, and I'll even do the pistol grip.
You need a left-handed putter, but anyway, that's
I know. So that's how you go normally. Now, that's the claw putting grip normally for a left-handed grip.
Yep.
And I can see how that works. But he has gone cack-handed, claw on top.
Amazing, isn't it?
Now, that is insane.
Yep.
I don't feel like I've got any control.
So do the right-handed version, given you got a right-handed putter.
I'll do it right-handed. So there's your normal grip for a claw, and believe me, folks, if you're having putting troubles, the claw is a fantastic way to do something new and get your shoulders involved. But he's gone that way to where the claw is on the bottom, and he's basically just putting with one hand, which is the right.
Tell you what, the stroke looks really good though.
That actually didn't look too bad.
Very good.
But folks, just try it. I mean, try it, because that is as unusual a putting technique as I have seen.
I've seen that style before, but with a broomstick putter, not with a short putter.
Well, don't give it away, because I'm going.
I won't.
My top five a little later in the program is going to be the most ridiculous putting styles I've ever seen on the PGA Tour. I've seen some other ones around the
Is there a left-hander?
but on the PGA Tour, the most ridiculous putting strokes.
Is there a left-hander with a broomstick in there? Or?
No, there's not. You are one of the greatest putters of all time. What are you talking about? You hardly ever missed.
I'm the only left-hander I've ever seen use a broomstick. Have you ever seen another lefty use a broomie?
No,
so
never.
I don't know why.
Hey, speaking of broomsticks, I saw at the New Zealand Open, Ricky Ponting hit a driver to 3 feet, got his broomstick out, anchored the broomstick, and hold the eagle putt, Ricky.
Saw that.
Disgrace. That's a disgrace, Rick.
Oh, well.
And no one called him out on it either.
No, it is what it is.
I love you, Rick. He's the best batsman. Him and Greg Chappell, the best batsman I've ever seen.
Hell of a golfer. Both of them, actually.
Both of them, great golfers.
Greg's very good golfer. Yep. The other guy that was fascinating at the PGA National was Luke Clanton.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we saw him miss the cut at
it was about 3 weeks ago. I forget which one it was. But his
Phoenix,
putt
was it?
To make the cut, all he had to do, you have to get to 20.
Was it Phoenix? I think it was Phoenix.
Might have been. Yeah, it was Phoenix.
Yeah.
All you have to do, folks, if you don't know, you start with no points, and you have to get to 20 points in a season.
As an amateur. All you have to do.
To get your card.
That involves making a lot of cuts on the PGA Tour, top tens, et cetera.
The whole lot.
Yeah.
And, getting starts on the PGA Tour as an amateur, that's a hard thing to do. Normally you get 7 and that's it.
He's a bit of a superstar. He's at Florida State.
Yeah.
And if he makes the cut at this tournament, at the Cognizant, then he gets status for the following year.
That's right.
I just assumed he's going to turn pro. He's staying in college. He's going to stay at Florida State, play the rest of the season out with his team. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
That's what he said.
So that's the complete opposite of the last kid who did it, who won. What was his name?
Oh, Nick Dunlap.
Nick Dunlap.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick Dunlap won a tournament to get his card,
pro.
And he just jumped out.
Well, maybe... I wonder if Luke Clanton's card counts from now on, or if it's for next season. I'm not exactly sure. So, but given he's got his card, I'm sure he could get starts if he wanted to turn pro. But all credit to him. But the way he did it was fantastic. And his dad was following him. I don't know. We got a bit of footage of him holding a bunker shot, I think, on that Friday.
Show that.
And his dad's gone absolutely nuts.
Can you turn up the volume too, Dad, if you've got the ability to do that over there?
Dad,
right, we'll see.
I like the dad POV, dad point of view.
Good bunker technique.
Luke.
Dad's on the iPhone.
I love it. Didn't they do that call for someone else? Cooch.
That's right. Yeah. And Luke Donald gets a little bit as well. But look, it's a mighty effort. You start that particular week, and you're playing the toughest golf course, well, it used to be the toughest
used to
golf
be.
course, on the PGA Tour, knowing you've got to make the cut. I mean, it's a very different feeling. I know...
Made it comfortably too. It was like
yeah.
8 or 9 under through 2 rounds.
The only time I've ever had to do something like that was the first and only time I went to the Australian Tour School. And back in those days, you just had to break 300. That was it. So 475s if you've got to do the mathematics. Anyway, I only had 9 holes to play, and I was on even par. And I stood on the 10th tee, and I was doing the math what I had to shoot. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
So you think, if I come home in 50, I think I'm...
That was it. Anyway, you know what I did on the 10th? I double bogeyed the 10th hole, and it was game on. It was game on, Nick. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, I ended up getting through comfortably. I think, but it's a unique feeling knowing that it's not shooting low score possible. It's just making a cut, or it's just breaking 300.
Yeah.
It's funny, when you've trained one way your entire life, which is just to go and play the best golf you can possibly play, when there is a different goal in the background for you to achieve the status you're looking to achieve, it messes with your head.
It does, yeah, absolutely. And Fridays on the tour, when there is a cut involved, become so riveting. And I think I was texting you guys. At one point, it was looking like the cut was going to be 4 under, and there was 92 players on 4 under or better. Now, it never got there. It went out to 5 under. But watching these players come in, having to hold 5, 6, 10 footers for birdie or par on the last to make the cut, it was brilliant. It was great TV, and I think the tour did a really good job of highlighting it, because normally they don't, one segment on tour should be Friday cut, or Friday afternoon, or whatever it is, to make the weekend, to call it whatever you want.
They could. You know how we've got the minis. You know how you can watch a mini NBA game. You can watch a mini NRL game.
Yeah.
They need a mini making the cut.
Yeah.
I reckon that would be sensational.
Same
That'd
with
be great
Q-schools.
viewing.
Q-schools
Q
as
school
well.
would be a mini getting your card.
Yeah. You want to see golfers vomit all over themselves?
Oh, yeah.
Just watch Q-schools.
Speaking about that, and we're going to get it in the second half. I'll get it up. Have you ever seen the bloke who needed to make a putt, I think it was on the 71st or the 72nd hole, to get his card?
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen it?
Didn't we do a top 5 on this?
Yeah, and it hit
the cup?
It hit the cup and bounced out.
Yes.
We'll show that on the other side, but that's the first bit of video we'll show.
I love it.
Because that bloke has never been seen again. He has. Who knows where he is today? He's
Threw
probably
the cap down and...
Mate, he's probably in Thailand, out in the jungle somewhere, fighting for life.
Who knows?
He's never been seen again, that character. Ever. Now, somebody, thankfully, thank you very much, whoever it was, Dan, you might have the name, gave us a little bit of video of Jeff Guam.
Yes.
So Jeff Guam, if you don't know, folks, if you're new to the podcast or if you're new to Australian golf, Jeff Guam was the best young golfer we had, basically, going around for a little while. A tragic accident in a Pro-Am. Somebody hit a 3-wood and Jeff was, about 50 metres in front?
Lost his left eye or his right eye?
Lost his left eye.
Left eye. Or vision, anyway.
Yeah. So I'm not even sure if the eye's in there or not, but he can't see through the left eye anymore. But we were sent this vision of him hitting some golf balls.
Judging by it, he is still swinging it really good too.
Yeah. That is a magnificent swing. It looks like he's trying to get some clubhead speed going there. Almost speed training.
Now, the issue he's obviously going to have is that depth perception, reading lies. I mean, I'd love to see him make a comeback and obviously, play pro golf, which is his lifelong dream. Is it possible? I don't know. It'd be one hell of a story, though.
Well, you know as well as I do. I think vision is 80% of golf.
Totally, yeah.
Maybe
when you
more.
take that out of it.
If you
Reading greens.
Just distance control with the chip shots and pitches. When you're not, at some point you get close enough to a green where you're not getting your rangefinder out and getting 27.
No.
That's out. At some stage, you've actually got to use your vision.
Got to have feel, yeah.
And that's going to be the biggest hurdle for Jeffrey Guam.
Yeah, he's going to need a very good caddy to begin with.
That is for sure. Okay, let's take a break. We'll get that vision out of the kid missing the putt. If you're on YouTube, you're going to take a deep breath. This kid has practiced his whole life.
He's not a kid either. He's
his whole life to get his PGA Tour card. It's a life changer, and he had this 3-foot putt. We'll show it in a tick.
Are we in slow motion too?
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number one ball in golf is Titleist and the number one shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app, and Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's better. Now, back to Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick and Mark.
So I'll get to the top 5 in just a tick, Nick, like I said, but I also mentioned a golfer who had a 3-foot putt to get his tour card. His name is Joe Daly.
Infamous putt, this one.
I wonder what monastery he spent the next 25 years of his life trying to just regroup after this happened.
No laughing matter. We shouldn't miss it anywhere, but gosh, it's so
Right in the middle.
Oh, perfect.
Right in the middle.
What was that?
Now, it
poor
hit,
guy.
folks, if you don't know what happened, there's a ceramic cup that sits in the bottom of every hole. And the ceramic cup, unless it's all the way down, you can hit the lip of the ceramic cup in the hole and it can bounce out if the putt is hit at the perfect weight.
Yes.
It's happened to me a number of times.
It's happened to me.
We've seen it at when the US Open was at LA Country
Club, it happened.
The leading amateur
Yeah.
did it on the very last hole as well. When he did it, then the team went in and they pushed the ceramic hole down. But could you imagine you've worked your whole life to get your US Tour card and that happens to you?
Poor guy.
You mightn't recover at the second hole of the 6 rounds if that happened to you.
He never did. He never did recover because we've never heard from him again.
We've never seen him again.
Our hearts go out to you, Joe, and I hope you're doing well.
He's probably,
Maybe he's a greenkeeper now.
Maybe he's a greenkeeper.
Teaching people how to put cups in the hole in the greens properly. Who knows?
We're talking about getting Ryan Peake on. I want to get Joe Daly on.
Wow.
I want to get Joe Daly on to see what has become.
How often do you think he thinks about it?
Every day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The first thing he thinks of when he wakes up. Every single day.
Jeez.
Anyway.
That's brutal.
Okay.
Time for this week's Top 5.
Top 5.
The Talk Birdie To Me Top 5, thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Top 5.
Righto, so on the back of Joe Highsmith and the most ridiculous putting action grip I've ever seen, and by the way, he shot 64-64 on the weekend to win the tournament.
Can I just let you know this? On the weekend, never missed a putt inside 10 feet. Hey, the ball doesn't know how you're gripping the putter. I'll just say that.
So this is my top 5 most ridiculous putting actions I've seen on tour.
Okay.
Very simple. At number 5, there was a bloke called Robert Garrigus, and he was having trouble putting.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was teaching his kid how to putt. And the week beforehand, his kid had a very small kid's putter, and he found that he didn't miss using his kid's putter.
Oh, no.
I played with Robert while he was using it at a US Open qualifying once.
Yeah, so most putters are either, if you're a man, you're either 34 or 35 inches. It's one or the other, basically. Sometimes if you're a woman, you use a 33-inch putter.
Yep.
33-inch putters are very good for a lot of people, by the way. Robert Garrigus was using a 28-inch putter. 28 inches.
One for mini-me, that
It
one.
looked so stupid. It looked so stupid, it was hard to comprehend. And he was doing it on tour. At number 4, he's a reasonable player. He's the reigning US Open champion.
Okay.
Bryson DeChambeau, to me, it looks like an illegal action to me.
It's ramrod straight. There's not a lot of feel going on there, is there?
No, it doesn't look right. It looks ridiculous, and yet he won a US Open doing it. Well done to you, Bryson.
Okay.
How low do you have to go to start putting side saddle? Like the man who has won the tour record 82 US Tour events, Sam Snead, at one stage was putting side saddle.
Didn't Bryson try it for a while?
Yeah.
And then they stopped him or
Yeah,
something
that's right.
because it's illegal?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
And where are you, USGA and RNA? Just knock these things on the head before it gets silly.
Hey, by the way, in one of my favourite movies, remember, what was it, 7 Days in Utopia?
Yeah.
The guy, I think, uses a side saddle style. So anyway,
you're
just to let you know.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's not one of my favourite movies.
At number
don't worry.
2, the man wearing the Beekeeper's Titleist hat, Joe Highsmith, goes into there because, you know, the claw is a great thing if you're struggling with your putting. It's fantastic. It works. Who was the first bloke to do it? Chris
claw?
DeMarco. He's the
DeMarco.
first. Yeah, Chris
but
DeMarco.
his left hand was in a real funny position.
Left hand
too.
was in a weird
like,
spot.
It wasn't the normal. It was like
Yeah.
he used to hold it. No, he used to hold it like that. That's
Yeah.
right. He held it like a broomstick putter, but down
Yeah.
way down here, and then the other claw happening. It was the most
Yeah.
funky thing. But he
So
was a wizard on the greens.
The claw works when the top hand is in the top hand spot. But using the claw as the top hand itself,
the bottom hand.
as the, I can see, we don't even know. Using the claw
Going backwards.
going backwards and the bottom hand
It doesn't make sense.
doesn't make sense.
Now, is your number one the guy who used the long putter doing it that way or not?
I've left him out.
You left him
I
out.
left out VJ. Sim.
VJ, because he was doing that.
I left out VJ. It was
broomstick.
either him or Robert Garrigus.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So Robert Garrigus makes it every day.
Okay.
But my number one most ridiculous putting action I have ever seen. I don't even know whether he's still doing it, but Matt Kuchar, he had the shaft of the putter there
Up the
on
left
his left
forearm.
hand.
That makes sense to
That
me.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Roger Davis did it. Bernard Langer did it, and you know he can hold it there.
Matt did it with a regular grip.
He's got he's got the shaft on the right
Yeah.
forearm, so it would have added 20 degrees loft to the putter face.
I have a feeling he's got. If you
I
put
mean,
his
come on,
if you put his
Cooch.
putter head down normally with the shaft straight up and down, I have a feeling he must have -8 loft on it or something like that.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Someone must have given him $15 to do it as a dare because we know how tight he is for cash. So maybe that happened.
Okay.
Who knows? But anyway, there's my top 5 this week.
Well done. Very good.
Top 5 for Southern Golf Club. The Cameron Percy squad they've had going for a while now, 12 months now. They've got 18 young players in that.
Wow.
18.
That's very good, isn't
Very
it?
good.
Well, it's a lot more than they thought they were going to have, but they didn't think they had quite that many. But it's a fantastic initiative from Southern, so it's fantastic.
Hey, speaking of very good golf clubs, I've seen some pictures recently too of Royal Sydney and their reader. Who's doing that one?
Royal Sydney Gilhance.
Gilhouse. He's doing it. Those pictures look fabulous. Who put those on Twitter? Someone did. They're the pictures we stole them off.
Oh, yeah,
I was
look at
going to give
that.
them a credit.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, so that looks much more like a golf club.
It's kind of widened it all out, got rid of a lot of the
Yeah,
bushes and shrubs.
yeah.
Because one of the biggest complaints there, I think, and I played it a couple of years ago in the Royal Sydney Cup, is the bunkers are so deep, and a lot of the members are struggling to get out of them. So it looks as though they've flattened them out a little, widened the whole course out, changed the routing as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it'll be fascinating to see.
He was going to make the last hole a par 3. That got knocked on the head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the members didn't like that. It says here, Hunt's redesign aims to restore the course's original coastal heathland character and address issues such as poor drainage and dense tree congestion. So those
Makes
pictures
sense.
look like the dense tree congestion's gone, and it does look a hell of a lot better.
Luke Elvey, by the way, put him up.
Good night, Luke
Elvey.
Elvey.
Thank you, Luke.
That's where we saw it. So a bit of a credit to
And then
Luke Elvey there.
the other golf course, I saw some pictures of the other day as well. New South Wales Golf Club.
I didn't even know they were doing anything there.
They've been looking at a redo for a while. They were talking to Tom Doak at one point, but they couldn't come to an agreement. So I think they've got Mackenzie Ebert, I believe, to do the redesign. And you should have a look. Have a look at this.
What hole's that?
6th hole.
That's the 6th.
That is the 6th.
Oh, wow, that looks
There
fabulous.
never used to be any bunkers down there by the ocean.
The riveted bunkers?
Revetted,
Thank you.
as opposed to riveted.
I'm doing it on purpose. these
Yeah, I
days.
know you are. But is there a behind view that you had there, Dan? Because show the behind view, because that is incredible. How big the green is now. Like, it is massive.
Yeah.
But what a stunning par 3.
Yeah. You know, the original design for that hole, so that's the 6th hole. The 5th hole, if you've never played
Up
New
and
South
over.
Wales, is one of the most dramatic, I guess,
I hear they're
bits of-
taking a bit of that hill out. Is
Are
what
they
they're doing.
really?
They're flattening it out a little. I think it'll still be dramatic,
Right.
but That's what I've heard. I'm not sure yet.
I was told that the green was going to be out on that bit of island.
How good would that be?
Yeah, and the tee to the next hole. And the next hole was going to be a par 4, or maybe there was a proposal that you could, get hit to the top of the hill. The ball goes all the way down, because quite often it goes all the way down. You got a wedge in, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if your second shot was onto that island out there, the rocky island, and then a tee was over to the left, and you play a par 4 or something for the next shot.
Yeah.
Would have been amazing.
It would be.
It would have been amazing.
Would have been very
Imagine
impressive.
if they could.
Well, there's all these ideas floating around anyway, so as long as the members are happy.
All right, well, it's your time to shine, Nick.
Okay.
So we've got the trumpeter ready for the Ping Global results, or are we just going to be bland and useless?
No, we're in negotiations. His people are talking to our people, and we'll. I reckon let's try and get him in next week.
The trumpeter's got people.
Okay.
Well,
Please.
okay.
Come on.
He's a very important trumpeter.
Come on.
But have you ever negotiated with a trumpeter?
Come on. It's just
Jeez.
ridiculous.
So
Just get
no-
it in here.
If it's going to be done, it's got to be done right, Mark,
yeah.
okay?
So no intro for Ping Global this week,
No intro.
Nick. We will let you bring the excitement. Okay.
Oh, always.
There you go.
PGA Tour this week, they had the Cognizant Classic at that lovely golf course down in West Palm
Your
Beach.
favourite.
Oh, one of my favourites. Up there with Bay Hill, really.
Scary course.
Yes, indeed. But the Bear Trap was not, didn't have as much teeth as per usual. As we know, the left-hander Joe Highsmith had a 5-foot putt to make the cut on Friday and shot 64 the weekend. His Saturday warm-up, get this, he said, I felt as though when I walked to the first tee, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep the ball in play all day. He thought he was going to hit it OB all day.
You just hit it sideways on the range.
On the range. Had a shocking warm-up. Have you ever had one of those rounds where you've hit it horrific and played fantastic?
Yeah.
And done the reverse?
And the other way.
Exactly. So warm-ups, don't read too much into them,
No,
folks. I can
you're there
tell
to
you that
warm
now.
up. That's it.
Yeah,
Nothing
anyway,
else.
No. But Highsmith, he had a 2-shot win over Jacob Bridgman and JJ Spawn. Jake Knapp, the man who shot 59, unfortunately, had that triple on 11, finished tied for 6th. Minwoo Lee, good result, 67 on Sunday to finish tied 11th. And Carl Phillips, Mr. Sunday Red, finished tied for 39th. And as I mentioned, Luke Clanton as well got his PGA Tour card, ended up finishing in a tie for 18th.
Is that Phillips' first made cut on the PGA Tour?
No, he made the last cut as well.
he's going well then.
It's a couple
He's
for
killing
him. So, it's steady,
Yep.
steady as she goes. On the LPGA, they were at the HSBC Women's World Championship in Sentosa, Singapore. Lydia Ko dominated the final round, shot 69 for a 4-shot win over Ayaka Furue and Gino Titakal. That's her 23rd LPGA win. That's a scary number, isn't it?
Is that the scary course? There's a scary course, that one, Sentosa. And is that the one that's near the airport?
It's on an island there's 36 holes there. It's not the one
not the
I
one,
used to
yeah.
play. I think the one they play at Live. It's a slightly different one.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
still a scary course, but
Yeah.
not as scary.
Not the crazy one
Not
that you
as
and I
one,
played.
Yeah. Hannah Green in her title defence finished tied for 7th, and Minjee Lee tied for the 11th, was the best of the Australians. On the DP World Tour, they were in Durban for the South African Open at the Durban Country Club, where South Africa's Dylan Naidoo, who had a 61 in round 2, defeated Laurie Cantor in a playoff. And the reason they were in a playoff is the 4th round was abandoned. So they were tied after the 3rd round. Armageddon came, flooded the whole golf course.
Right.
They could not finish the 4th round, so they just cancelled it. You were almost on another 59 watch as well for
Really?
your rating.
Yeah.
Because in the 2nd round, get this, Dale Whitnell
Yeah.
had 2 holes in 1 in the same round.
Oh, you're kidding me.
2 holes in 1. He was 5 under through 3,
Yeah.
10 under through 15.
Oh.
So if he birdies the last 3,
Yeah.
he got 59, he doubled 16.
Oh, no.
But he did birdie 18 to shoot a 63, so it was still a good result.
I told you about the Victorian Open that Trevor McDonald had 2 holes in 1 in the 1 round.
Really?
Yeah, there's 4 par 3s at Woodlands Golf Club. There were 2 prizes for hole-in-ones.
Oh,
and
no.
Trevor holding one on the other 2 holes where there wasn't a prize.
No!
Can you believe it?
I held in one in Singapore one year at the Singapore Masters.
Yeah.
On the hole where they had the car.
Yeah.
On the 17th.
Yeah.
One of the toughest par 3 ever, but it was in the Pro-Am. It wasn't in the tournament.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to go
Were
through
you telling me...
I'm not going to go through my hole-in-one story at the Ford Open where I hold-in-one.
oh, we know that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Is that the one where you kissed the car and
Yeah.
it was caught on camera?
Yeah, that's it. Kiss the car, carrying on like an idiot.
Yeah.
And then
the guy?
And the guy yells out from the crowd, "Hey, dickhead, it's Saturday, Sunday only." Oh, man.
Is that the one where he goes, "Oh, no."
That's it.
Oh, no. That Timmy Webster.
Tim Webster.
Oh, I love it.
Sports Tonight, that's the one.
Play the day.
Were you telling me Joe Highsmith's the only player to have 3 holes in one season?
Yeah, that's
Is that
right.
correct?
Yeah, that's right.
3 holes in one
I
in
think
one
I've sent it to you, Dan. Have we got that up? Yeah, I think it actually shows the 3 hole-in-ones that he
Really?
had last year. The only player ever to do it.
Wow. I did 3 in a year on the PGA Tour. However, it was in different seasons. But they were all
okay.
within a year. So my first one was at Pebble.
Yeah.
And then the following...
Which hole at Pebble?
The
You told me.
12th.
The 12th. That's a tough hole.
And then I had one at Torrey.
Which one at Torrey?
The 3rd down the hill.
That's a tough hole.
And then the following year,
Yeah.
I had one at Monterey at the Pebble Beach tournament again. So it was different.
I've never played that
Same
course.
tournament.
What's
but
Monterey like? Everyone loves it.
nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Was that before the redo? Because
Very-
they've just redone
really?
them both.
It's very gettable. You can
Yeah,
shoot
okay.
some pretty low scores around there. And I had one there, can't remember, 14th hole maybe, blind par 3, didn't see it go in. So best of the Australasians, Kazuma Kobori tied for 25th at the South African Open. Well done, Kazuma. He's
him.
plugging along pretty nicely.
How about that? He's playing over there instead of the New Zealand Open, his home tournament.
Well, he's got his DP
Yeah.
World Tour card and he's trying to make the
Good
most
on
of
him.
it. But you're right, actually.
You've got to make those sacrifices to get your card.
And maybe he saw it was a pro-am. I mean...
Yeah, well, there you go.
Anyway, I'm not going to go there.
No, you just did. And I like it. So well done.
Speaking of the New Zealand Open, Ryan Peake, first left-hander since
Bob Charles.
Sir Bob Charles, who won there in 1973, by the way.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So well done to Ryan, who won from 3 players. I know you didn't see the end of this, but Jack Thompson had a putt on the last to
Yeah, I
get to
saw it.
23 under. He missed. Kazuki Higa, same deal.
Yeah.
Did you see the putt by Ian Snyman, the South African?
No.
Hit a beautiful shot in
did.
6 feet,
It looked like it was good.
horseshoe.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I did.
It was brutal. It was brutal. So
So
anyway,
he looks like a nice player too. So,
very
so you had a
solid.
South African playing in the New Zealand Open and a New Zealander playing in the South African tournament.
Get that? I don't know. Yeah.
What's going on?
Anyway, very interesting. But I also of note, Elvis Smiley, who was really wanting to lock up that top spot, finished
Yep.
tied for 8s, had a really good week. Lucas Herbert was there as well, but didn't have a good week. So
How
if
many
he'd have
tournaments
won,
left? How many tournaments left for? Well, Smiley doesn't have.
What have
I mean,
we
he's
got?
already got his card, hasn't he? He's the tournament winner.
what he's trying to do is lock up the top spot because it gets him the US Open and the British Open.
There we go.
So that's the key.
That
But he's
makes
already
more
got his
sense.
DP World Tour.
That
card.
makes more
Yeah.
sense.
And then on the Corn Ferry Tour, because I'm talking about getting into the British Open, they had the Argentina Open on the Corn Ferry Tour. Justin Suh had a 5-shot win over 3 players. He gets a spot in the Open from a Corn Tour Ferry.
How do you say his last name?
Suh.
Not much imagination there, is there?
S-U-H. I'm thinking
Yeah.
it's Suh.
Oh,
Anyway,
I think it's right.
Harry Hillier tied for 37th. He was the lone New Zealander there. And locally, we had the Athena going on as well. We had the girls at Peninsula Kingswood.
Geez, they're wearing some
And the
fancy
golf,
clothes.
And the golf course looks stunning.
Yeah, that was PK, wasn't it?
Really good.
The chipping
Really good.
area at PK. Folks, if you've never played Peninsula Kingswood
good.
and you're from somewhere else other than Victoria, put it on the list. I can tell you this. International players, how much do you reckon it would cost an international player to play PK these days? 1,100
What?
smackaroos.
1,100?
Yeah, they're not messing around.
No,
It's-
they're not.
Yeah, they're both courses. They say the North course is the one, but I think they're just as good as each other.
Yeah, I think they're both very similar.
Yeah, I think they're
And then you
fabulous.
could go
Maybe
either
the
way.
North pips it at the post,
Yeah.
but by a nose.
Anyway, at the Athena, Claire Shin defeated Steph Bunk in the final. They were square after 4 holes. They halved the extra hole when they went extras, and that was after Claire Shin hit a beautiful approach to about 6 feet above the hole. 2 putts from there to win. 3-putted, unfortunately. The greens are so quick there at PK, it went about 8-foot past. So they went into a putt-off, and Claire Shin holed about a 10-foot putt to defeat
She's a
Steph
good putter.
Bunk. Very
Yeah,
good.
She's a very good
So
player.
a good win. And that is this week's Ping Global
Well
results.
done.
Next week, we're going to have the trumpet, hopefully.
Well, we will. We'll get him in and we'll have a have a
After
bit
he
of a-
talks to his people.
Well, talks,
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
You've got people.
yeah.
Yeah,
You good people?
yeah, but I'm not a trumpeter.
Her
What's
name's
he?
Trish.
Yeah.
As if. Yeah,
I think
that's
you're,
right.
I think you're being a bit disrespectful. All right, boys, time for a bit of feedback.
Righto.
From the letters to the editorial, ba-da-ba-doo-da, ba-da-ba-doo-da, ba-da-ba-bum-bum-bum.
I think feedback should be its own program. I just love it. I think it's your time to shine, Dan.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I think so.
Okay. All
Anyway,
right.
this is
It'll
just...
be its own podcast.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what you think after you hear this feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Daniel has said, I can't wait to hear Marco's ranking of Jake Knapp's 59, which you have done earlier in the pod.
Yeah,
Obviously,
level
he-
2.
Obviously, he wrote
Level
this earlier.
4, you said.
So level 4.
Overrated,
Level 4.
I think.
Level 4.
But Daniel goes on to say, when 7 under barely makes the front of the first round leaderboard, I reckon this one would have to be at the lower end of the rankings.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I reckon of all golf courses on the tour, to keep it going, when you had to go through the bear trap to keep it going, that brought it from a level 3 to a level 4 sub 60 round.
So there's no half ratings in this 0.5.
no, although you'll find a way to do stuff in
Well, you
halves.
had A minus, D plus.
Yeah, well, that's a different system. This is just level 5, level 4, level 3. And
I think
this
we
is a
should go
level
back to
4.
the A, B, C, D.
No, you
anyway.
can't, because someone's going to get an F.
No, there's no failing at 59.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Well, I think I gave Micheluzzi a D minus.
You were very
Was it an F?
So you can't give anyone a D minus sub 60 round. It just doesn't feel right.
You were bloody harsh on Micker, and he wasn't happy about it either.
Well, that's what happens when you shoot sub 60 in a Stableford comp
Yeah.
and boast about it.
Off the forward tees.
Off the forward tees.
Okay,
Please.
couple of messages here. Alex has said, hey guys, I'd love you to get Ryan Peake on the podcast,
Yep.
as we talked about earlier. A great redemption story.
Let's
And
talk to our people.
Paul Jeffries has said, I've just read about Ryan Peake and the Herald Sun. Would be a great golf story to get on the pod, I reckon, from being in prison to being a full-time golfer. A brilliant story from Paul.
Yep.
So,
Well, now, who do we speak to? Do we
Could be a
talk to,
movie in that, maybe.
Do we talk to
eventually.
Brucey Peacock, or do we talk to Nick Arnold here at Titleist FootJoy?
I think we have the people to talk to.
Tim Snow from FootJoy?
Yeah. Take your pick.
Put me on the camera.
Tim Chatfield,
I want to look down the barrel.
oh, okay.
Hey, Nick, Bruce, Tim,
over there, man.
make sure we get Ryan Peake on the program, please. We don't ask for much, but we want Ryan. Tuesday week, if you don't mind.
I reckon it loses a bit of impact when you look at the wrong camera.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, a couple more messages. This is on the Hugo podcast. How long have you been in TV for, Mark, by the way?
A long time.
A long time, yeah.
Sorry.
Marcus Johnson, great stuff, the Hugo pod he's talking about. Brad's a legend in Aussie golf, a very humble guy with some amazing stories. Thanks, guys. Old uni guy. I played with Brad a number of times in my career. He has a great knowledge of the golf swing. Jacob. I saw Brad hitting 3 irons at the Lakes driving range in the late 90s. I think it was in Norman's Holden tournament. He flushed every single one of them. They flew out the same perfect window, and everyone had the same perfect flight.
Yeah. Who came up with the term window? Because, players hit through different windows. It's a great term. It's a really good visual.
It is.
You had someone like Brett Ogle. His window was low and then it was rise. And you got other players like Cam Davis, who just hits it straight up to a high window. So it's a really nice terminology.
Did you ever think about that?
Never.
Windows when you played? I never did.
No.
Some people would talk in floors, second floor, third floor.
Yeah, that's right.
That sort of thing.
No, I had one level. It was low, and that was it. I hit the ball low.
We've got another message about Brad. This has got a question for you guys as well. So this is from Truth Life Fishing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Brad's teaching videos. I don't know much about his stable of students, but I absolutely hope he succeeds at the highest levels. Well, he's already doing that.
Yeah,
He's wildly successful.
going well.
And on another note, what happened to Martin Ayres?
Martin Ayres. There's a good name. There's a blast from the past. I'll find out.
Who's Martin Ayres?
Well, he was a good player, and he became a reasonable coach too. Yeah, there's
Okay.
a little. Yeah, Martin was an interesting character. I'll do some homework.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get on ChatGPT right now.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Now, a message here from Fausto. I think that's how you say Fausto. If that's not how you say name, I apologise. Watching the Mexican Open recently reminded me of a recent inquiry you had regarding how Aaron Badley keeps getting starts on the tour. By the way, what is his status, he asks. That's the first question.
I think he's just got like the status from 126 to 150 status.
I think so, yeah.
Something like that.
Obviously, his career is wildly successful, but we all remember the bads.com era and winning tournaments as an amateur and contesting in, I believe it was the Masters. Is a talent unfulfilled? I know he's made a lot of money, but Nick always said He'd rather be inconsistent and win often like Nick Taylor than be, as Mark says, a human ATM.
Yeah, that's right. Martinez, got him. Thank you to ChatGPT.
Okay.
Martinez is an Australian golf coach, former Australasian Tour player, has worked with notable golfers including major champions Steve Elkington and Mike Weir, as well as three-time PGA Tour winner Cameron Percy. He didn't win 3 times, Cameron Percy, on the PGA Tour.
Corn Ferry Tour, maybe?
Maybe the Corn Ferry Tour.
Maybe. I don't know.
ChatGPT, what are you doing to us?
Yeah.
Ayres is recognised for his unique approach to golf instruction.
I've lost faith
Focusing
in
on the
GPT.
dynamics of the golf swing, he shared his insights through various platforms, including YouTube, blah, blah, blah. In recent years, Ayres has remained active in the golf community, contributing to discussions and swing mechanics and coaching philosophies. There you go.
Aaron Badley, I'm going off this, I don't know which one's correct, either 143 or 166
He's on that program, is he?
in the category, yeah.
okay.
So for the FedEx Cup, it says. So
He'll get starts every once in a while.
yeah, might get a dozen starts, if that.
And hopefully parlay a couple of those starts into top 10s and then get into more tournaments.
Yep.
So a key question from Fausto here on Bads was, and this is kind of the core of what he's saying, I suppose, is he, despite his success, talent unfulfilled to a degree?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
When you look at that swing he had at 1999 at Royal Sydney,
And 2000 at Kingston Heath.
and you go, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be the next number one in the world.
He was a freak. He was a freak show. Had nerves of steel, the best swing we've ever seen, and the greatest putter I've ever seen for someone that age. It was just crazy.
No, he's carved out a wonderful career, but, you know, could it have been as good? Well, we can all say that.
Has he got 12 or 13 kids these days?
I think
got
he's
a lot
up
of
to
kids.
6, maybe 5 or 6.
Got 6.
I think him and Jason Day, they're having
They're
a
having a
contest.
competition, are they?
Final bit of feedback, and we will come back later in the week and do a feedback pod, I reckon. But the
Yeah.
final bit of feedback for today. Now, Mark, question for you first. Are you enjoying being on YouTube?
Why do you ask this question?
Well, it's a very simple. It's a yes/no question.
Yeah, I am.
We haven't been
I'm
on long, though.
enjoying it.
Great.
Yes.
Don has got some feedback.
Don, okay.
Don.
A message from Marco. I love the podcast. I enjoy watching on YouTube, but I've got an observation.
Right.
Interesting, Mark, that you constantly have a go at Jason Day and his Malbon outfits, yet I see you wearing those ridiculous red-framed glasses. People in glass houses.
Hey, believe me, the red won't be the only colour you'll see on YouTube on the way. I've been given some advice to actually start matching my glasses with the colour of shirt I'm wearing.
Oh, wow.
And
Well, you've done well with
I'm
it.
taking it into, I'm going to give it some great thought.
Well, you've done well on the colour palette because those two do go very well because I do live with an artist, Alana. She
Yeah.
tells me all the time, trying to match the colours.
good. Yeah.
Anyway, you've got the navy blue with the,
Yes.
what do you call that? Mango
Orange.
peach?
Yeah, mango peach.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's what Tim Snow called it
Okay.
when I went into wardrobe this morning.
Well, that is the feedback for this week, guys, by the way. And if you would like to give us some feedback, we'd love getting it. Mark, where do they go? What do they do?
They go to talkbirdietome.com.au. Just scroll down a little bit. The page will go down. You'll see a red button. Push the red button. Leave us your details and leave us a nice message as well. Or any questions, any feedback, anything you like.
Okay. Time for the masterclass. You ready to go?
Yep.
Golf has many ways of measuring ability and performance. But at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. And that's where Watch My Numbers can really help.
Oh, look at that lie. That is a beauty. That's pretty much submerged, much like Jake Knapp's ball at the Cognizant Classic when he hit it in the water on the 11th. His ball was completely submerged. Now the commentators were saying the only way to get this out is with speed and really come in steep to it. He was trying to almost splash it out and it didn't have a chance. So when you get similar lies like, not underwater, but buried and under the sand in bunkers, we want to do that exact same thing. Now with regular bunker shots, I'm going to get my hands nice and low, open the face, but we don't want to do that on these buried lies. We want to do the opposite because when you open the face and you get the hands low, you expose the bounce, which is fantastic for regular shots. But in buried lies, what we want to do is we want to get nice and close. I want to use the leading edge. I want to have my hands a little higher and I'm going to square the club face, maybe even turn it down a little bit. Now, when I'm hitting these sorts of shots with this lie, I got no chance of getting it close to the first flag, second and third flags, well, maybe I can get that out. But really, it's about getting this ball out. So I've got to come in steep and I've got to come in with speed. Chop down on it like you would an axe. Really give it a hit. And you don't even need to follow through. Almost actually hold that one. That was pretty good. Now this second ball, it's not as bad. It's sort of lying, you know, a semi-plug lie, but I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to get nice and close. I'm going to pick it up, and I don't need to hit this one as hard, but it pops out beautifully like that. So you really got to dig under these. That's why you use the leading edge and you get nice and close to dig under that ball. Otherwise, if you open the face and come in shallow, you might even go back into your footprint, unfortunately.
Right, so that was brilliant, Nicholas. And I've got a couple of questions for you.
Fire away.
How often do you reckon amateur golfers practice a plugged lie?
Very rarely. They're
Hardly ever.
They are pretty hard to replicate, but if you can find some soft sand, throw it down as hard as you can, step on it, put a club on it, do whatever you want. But with a bit of practice and using that style of technique, you'll be surprised how easily it comes out.
Yeah.
Because most people, because it's so buried, they think, oh, well, I've got to open my face. I've really got to kind of splash it out. But you've got to dig under it. And the only way to dig under it is to use the leading edge.
Yeah.
So,
when I see players who don't know what they're doing on the golf course with a plugged lie, you can see the panic in their face.
Yeah.
And there doesn't really need to be a lot of panic if you have experience.
Correct.
When you play them. So next time you're down hitting a few bunker shots, if you're lucky enough to be at a private golf club or wherever you might do some practice at the driving range, make sure you just throw a few plugged ones in there and plug it into the face, plug it from a flat bit, plug it from a downslope.
Ooh, they're the worst.
They are the absolutely, you got no hope.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get on the green from a downslope plug, you've done really, really well. But unless you practice them, you will always have that panic in the back of your mind, the panic and anxiety that kills so much in golf.
One day I'm going to do a masterclass of some sort where I'm in water. I want to do that because I don't practice that one. No one does really.
No one does.
But it'll be fun to try a few different. I might just put the board shorts on and cover myself in mud.
All right. Well, fantastic. If you've been watching on YouTube, thanks so much for your company. If you're listening in the car, at home, doing the gardening, we enjoy talking about golf every single week. Nick, I'll see you next week.
All right. Cheers.
And that's been Talk Birdie To Me, Australia's most popular golf podcast, with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.
How does the best get better? With more speed off the tee. More control with your irons. More spin with your wedges. Introducing the all-new Pro V1 and Pro V1X.